Hey everybody, it's Jeff with Three Keys Brewing Eatery. You know, people come in all the time and they ask us questions like, you know, when are you guys going to start brewing? How does the brewing process work? They like to know basically that we're a little different, but they want to see the whole process behind the scenes. So I thought today we would walk through our brewing process. I have Scott, who's actually master here. Scott's actually my son and our brewmaster, so we want to talk about what makes us a little bit different. We're not actually brewing for distribution, we're just brewing for beer in-house here. So we thought we'd give you guys a little behind-the-scenes tour of what we are doing here. So Scott, let me know, I'm going to kind of ask some questions of how this goes, but give me a general overview of what our brew house is like over here.
So this is our brew house right here. So we've got a 4-barrel brew house. So we're capable of producing 8 full half-barrel kegs in one brew day. When you go to other breweries, our brew house is a little different. When you go to other breweries, they'll have a 3-vessel system. So they have one, which is hot water, one vessel dedicated to a mash tun where you soak the grains in the water, and then one vessel dedicated to boiling the wort. But what we have here is we can do almost all of those in one kettle. So basically what we do is we mash in here, and that's combining the grain and the water. And then what that does is that breaks down those starches into sugars, which the yeast eats and makes into alcohol. And then once we're done, we lift it up, all the liquid or wort falls down, we take this off and we boil in the same pot.
So is there like a mesh bottom? Is that where it falls?
There's a mesh bottom right under here, that all that water, you know, the grain bed helps create a filter once it sets, but that mesh bottom makes sure none of the big solids get into the wort, and then it drains into here and we boil in the same pot. So we gain a good, I'd say, hour of time from transferring from one to another. So we're not wasting so much time transferring from one to another. So we can basically, it's very, very versatile because we can do 2 separate 2-barrel batches, or we can do 1 big 4-barrel. So it's kind of versatile. It's a good system to have if you're in a pinch and you gotta fill 4 taps. You can do it 2 days versus 4. So it's a pretty cool system. It's all electric, so you don't have to worry about any grains or dust catching on fire.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool system. It's
So once you've actually brewed the beer, it's all ready to go, then where does it go next?
So once it's done, we'll cool it. So we cool it to these counterflow chillers. We pump cold water one way,
And where's the water come from?
The water comes from a cold liquor tank, and we have a big walk-in cooler back here. There's a big 300-gallon cold liquor tank in the back of this water. It comes through the wall, it goes down, the wort goes up and back in the kettle, and we cool it that way. And once we cool it to about 68 degrees, we pump it into one of these. So these are fermenters. The ones with the cone bottoms are fermenters. They're made for fermenting the beer. So this is where we combine the wort with the yeast, and the yeast will eat all that sugar in that wort, and it'll create alcohol.
And so what do we say? It burps carbon dioxide and poops alcohol.
Yeah, it burps carbon dioxide and poops alcohol. So it makes all that alcohol goodness. So yeah, it ferments in here, and once it's done, all the yeast will drop to the bottom, and that's what that cone bottom is for. The cone will collect all that yeast, and you can just basically drop the yeast out, and you're left with fairly clear beer. So that takes about 7 to 10 days to reach the final gravity. Gravity is just a term for like ratio of water to sugar. And then once we're done with that, we put it into this short stubby tank, which is called a bright tank. So a word for clear beer is bright beer. So this is a beer bright tank. So we basically pump it into here, and we get it super, super cool. We cool it down to almost freezing, and that will make sure that all those solids drop down to the bottom. And then when we keg from here, we're kegging only clear beer.
And so how do you get the beer from the brew house into the bright tanks and into the fermenter and the bright tanks?
Right now we just use a pump. It's a standard, I think, 1/2 horsepower pump. We pump it from here into there. We actually use these small pumps. They actually do the job really well. But we use those small pumps. They're high efficiency pumps.
So you hook up a hose that runs from here over to there,
yeah,
right?
So we'll hook up a hose that runs into here. It'll go through an oxygenation system too. So we got this fancy little doodad that we hook up an oxygen.
Wait, is that a technical term? Fancy little doodad?
Fancy little doodad is a technical term, yes. So we hook up a fancy little doodad, and right before it goes in the fermenter, we pump it with oxygen because it's vital for a yeast to have a healthy fermentation. It needs oxygen. So oxygen before the beer ferments is good. Oxygen after the beer ferments is bad.
So beer, oxygen before good, after bad.
After it ferments is bad. You don't want any oxygen in the beer after it's fermented because that creates that just gross taste. It's just a gross skunk beer. Yeah, so after we put it in here, we get it super cold. we carbonate it. So what we'll do is we'll set a head pressure here and we'll bubble up CO2. And the colder the beer is, the better it absorbs CO2. So we'll bubble up CO2. There's a carb stone that goes right here. It's basically a stone with these tiny, tiny little holes. And we pump CO2 through it. And as it...
And why do you need a CO2 in the beer? What does that do for it?
It carbonates it, or else it's just flat.
Just flat beer,
It gives
okay.
that nice head.
Okay.
So, there's different levels of carbonation, but varying styles have varying different, levels of carbonation. So we'll set, the equilibrium between the head pressure and the carb stone pressure, and we'll bubble up CO2, and the beer, as it's bubbling up, the beer will absorb that CO2, and the colder you get, the better it absorbs. So that'll probably go overnight, and then come in the morning, and it'll be ready to keg. So we put it in the keg, and it's back to the taps, and you can drink it.
So it takes you, essentially, you brew it in one day,
Yes.
transfer it to fermenter for about 2 weeks,
About 2 weeks, yeah.
then you put it into the short sleeve bright tank for about a day or so, day or two,
Cold,
carbonate,
yeah.
and then you keg it. And where do you keg it at?
Right here.
Right here, okay.
Yeah, right here.
So I noticed this thing right here kicked on a minute ago. What is this thing right here?
So that is a glycol chiller. So that basically, it's the same stuff that runs through your engine that keeps your engine cool. but
Like
it's
antifreeze?
But it's antifreeze, yeah, but it's food grade antifreeze. So we put basically a bunch of water in there, and it runs through all these pipes here, right? So
Now those are the pipes I see that have water dripping every day onto it?
Yeah, so that's
They're super cold?
This is condensation. It's super, super cold. So we put that antifreeze in there to make sure that the water doesn't freeze as it's going through these pipes. So it can get down to about 17, 18 degrees Fahrenheit.
And where do these pipes go? They go into where?
So the pipes go into the jacket. So on the outside of these tanks, there's a little zone all the way around the tank where there's the glycol flows
like a
through.
pocket?
Like a pocket, yeah. So it'll basically, when there's a temperature probe that goes up in here. So when the temperature probe comes in and it says, oh, this beer is at 70 degrees and it's supposed to be at 68, the solenoid will kick on and it'll allow all that glycol to circulate around that beer, and it's just cooling down all the liquid inside. And as soon as it gets to the desired temperature, it'll shut off and it'll stop flowing.
So that basically makes sure that all this beer stays at the exact same temperature.
Yeah, high temperatures will create undesirable flavors, really flavors that don't make good beer. So you want to have it at a certain temperature. That's the biggest thing in making beer is keeping it fermenting at the right temperature.
And we want yummy beer, right?
You want yummy beer. Yummy beer is great to drink.
Okay.
And people will buy yummy beer.
So
yeah.
what's this contraption here I see? I saw this earlier. What is this right here?
That is a keg washer. So all of our kegs have to be cleaned and sanitized. We use the same kegs that we serve from, so when they're empty, we bring them here, probably get 4 or 5 of them, and these are little reservoirs for different cleaners. So you'll basically hit it with an acid cleaner, and then rinse it. We'll rinse it, acid, rinse it, sanitizer, and basically all these valves. It's really a rudimentary manual thing. All these valves we'll turn these valves to send a caustic cleaner through there, or send a sanitizer through there. So yeah, it's a keg washer. So yeah, so it's a good thing.
So I noticed this right here. There's a big pallet right here. What is this magical thing I see right here?
So that is grain. So in these bags are all the sweet, sweet starches that get converted into.
Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
Are the sweet, sweet starches that get converted when we soak those grains with the water. That makes the sugar. It breaks down into sugars, and that's what makes that sweet wort that we put in the fermenter. And we put the yeast in there to ferment those sugars out and make alcohol.
So basically, you take this grain right here. Let's say you take a couple 100 pounds of grain, right?
Yep.
You take it over to what? This grain mill?
Soak it in. Yeah, you put it in the grain mill and you crush it.
Now, why do you crush it?
Because if you were just to soak whole grains, that water wouldn't get into the center. Because all those starches are in the center of the grain.
Okay.
So you want to crack them open to get all those starches out. So
It's kind of like pistachio. You want to crack it to get the good stuff out of there.
Exactly. It's yeah. If only pistachios could make beer, that'd be really good beer. Yeah. So we put it in here, we crush it, and we put it in the mash tun. So they sit in the mash tun. It soaks for about 60 minutes, and that's where all those waters are making those sugars. So depending on what temperature you mash it at, higher temperature makes thicker beers, lower temperature makes thinner, drier beers.
And it's kind of like making oatmeal, right?
Exactly. It's like kind of like oatmeal, yeah.
Yeah. And you have a little tiny one right here. What's this little tiny one for?
It's just a pilot batch, so that can make about 10 gallons of beer. So
You'll have a crazy idea for a cool recipe. You'll try it out from the pilot batch. If people like it, it'll go to a 2-barrel or a 4-barrel, something to that effect.
Yep.
Okay. So the big question is, when do you start brewing?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And not only is it brew day tomorrow, what other day is it?
Jeff's birthday.
It's my birthday as well. So
Yeah,
what are your plans for the different beers you're gonna brew?
So first I'm going to do a hoppy wheat.
And what's a hoppy
Beer
wheat?
is going to be, it's a wheat, kind of like a wheat pale ale, but it's got a lot of citrus hops and a lot of citrus dry hops with Citra and Amarillo. So that's going to be kind of like a pale ale, but it's going to be super hop forward on the nose. So you're going to get a lot of, you're going to drink it and it's going to hit you in the face. All that citrusy, hoppy goodness. That's probably like the third batch I ever brewed. And it's one of the
It's one of my favorites,
best beers that I've ever tasted.
My favorite, yeah. I want to do all our beers. I want to do them all with Citra.
No, we can't do them all in Citra.
Okay, never mind then. So what else are you gonna do?
So I'll probably do 3 beers this weekend. We're probably gonna do a hoppy wheat, a blonde ale, and an IPA. So the blonde ale I might flavor with a couple different flavorings.
And that's kind of be one of our base beers that we'll do. We'll brew that, use that for a lot of our food. Plus, we'll infuse different flavors in, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay. So tomorrow's the big day that we get up and running, and you expect to have what, the beer on tap when roughly?
About first week of the year. What's tomorrow? The 17th. So yeah, about the first week of the year. Probably
Okay.
Second or third. Oh,
All right, so that's our
everything
plan.
goes according to plan.
According to plan.
Yeah.
So you were working all week long on the glycol lines, which are done, which
Yep.
is nice. So that was the big step. Then we get the grains in there. So tomorrow's the big day we brew. So.
Tomorrow's the big day.
All right, so that's the inside look. So we're gonna be brewing tomorrow. So hopefully we'll have beer the first of the year. Thanks a lot. See you later.